Welcome to the High School Football Playbook, brought to you by BSN Sports, Forever Lawn, the law firm of Krugliak, Wilkins, Griffiths, and Doherty, Kimball Companies, the Hackenberg Financial Group, Alter Care, Bell Stores, and Friends and Family Credit Union. Welcome to Week 10 of the High School Football Playbook, alongside the best in the business, TJ Downing, Reverend Jim Ballard, who wasn't with us for our game that we had to do Friday night because he was doing his thing, but we had some great games over the weekend, and you look at the smile on their two faces right now as we talk about this. And he was actually nervous when he was doing this too. Well, Jim, you got to talk a little bit about what you did.
Yeah, my bonus daughter, my wife's daughter.
Easy
Alexis,
for you to say, isn't it?
Right? Yeah, just thinking about it, I'm all rattled. Thank God I went on without a hitch. No, my wife's daughter, Alexis, got married and over Stan Hewitt, and she asked me a long time ago to perform the service, and of course I said yes. And the most nervous I've ever been about anything. So much easier to play in front of 60, 70, 80,000 people, but when you're sitting in front of everybody that you love, and you see your bonus daughter and the guy that she was going to marry is an awesome guy. Andy Schumacher, you just don't want to screw it up, and you got all your loved ones there. My kids were there, so it's like, all right, Dad, what's this all about? So you gotta get it going. And
you're used to talking a lot on your broadcasts.
I am, but that's different, though, man.
I'm a play-by-play guy.
It's so different.
So you can get Reverend Jim. You can dial him up at Air It Out Inc. So if you need him, he's there for you. But we wanted to make sure we talked about our games, our Hackenberg Financial Group, the week in review. The game that TJ and I had a chance to call, it was North Canton 17, Green 7. And Jim, that's 7 wins in a row for North Canton over Green since they joined the Federal League.
Yeah, Green's a good team. And they just came up a little short. This Hoover defense we've been talking about, that we've seen, they are loaded with Logan up front. He does a lot of good things. He's unblockable. Then he comes on the offensive side of the ball, decides to put his hand in the ground or his hands on his thighs, wait for a handoff. 6'3", 235. No way would I want to try and tackle that kid. They're running the ball extremely well. Derlin's starting to come into his own a little bit, starting to throw the ball a little bit with him more. It's going to be a battle. Hoover has a chance for the Fed League outright championship this Friday against Jackson. Rivalry game, and it's going to be a
good
fun
one
to watch. But Hoover did what they had to do. Didn't look ahead against a good Trevor Van Horn-led team.
Right. Yep. TJ, we talk about that North Canton team. You love that offensive line.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. They play really well. Brock Ziarko, Alec Lehman, they're the leaders up there. Zach Oler, TJ Pullen, the newcomer, Brad Cormanack. They're really getting it done for that run game. We saw Luke Roach. I mean, he went off. He was our Belton Village Mall player of the game for a reason. He carried that team. It never really felt like a 17-7 ball game. Kind of felt like it was a 3-score thing throughout the whole time. Yep. Trevor Van Horn did just enough to keep his team in it. You feel bad for him at times because he lost Quinn Simmer, who's one of the best wideouts in the area, a two-way threat, plays all 3 phases of the game, but really the leader of the team. And not having him and having Trey Martin that's a little bit banged up, you just felt like Green was waiting to get their shot to kind of get in the ball game, Jim, and they just never were quite there. But Luke Roach did enough with that offensive line to get over the victory.
It's tough to get out, come from behind a 17-point, halftime deficit, and Hoover was just able to hold on, play a little keep away, and defense did enough.
Luke Roach, nice night. Trevor, TVH, as I started calling him, 241 yards passing, and boy, you needed an ice bath after that one. So North Canton goes to 7-2, 5-0. Jackson moves to 8-1, 4-1. So their matchup, which we'll be talking about here in a little bit, but Jackson also did not look ahead, TJ. They took down Central 38-10. And again, our thoughts and prayers out to the Paxos family with the passing of Chris, Nico's father. And, the young man decided he wanted to come out and he wanted to kick. And I can understand that because I think that's what his dad would want him to do, and kind of took his mind probably off of what was happening.
Yeah, I've played with some guys before that have lost loved ones, lost family members, friends close to them before games, and really it's kind of therapy to get out there and do what you love the most. And Nico did that, man. He banged down a field goal, was perfect on his extra points, was putting them through the back of the end zone just like he does, even did it into the wind. Nico Paxos is a really talented kicker. Looking forward to seeing what Division I schools are on him. If they're not, they should be. Hunter Geisinger did enough within the offense to get him a solid win over Central. Surprisingly, Central chewed up almost the entire third quarter of this game. They really were in striking distance at times until it got blown apart when Geisinger was able to, off of a turnover, get a 35-yard touchdown pass to Kistler, and that was really all she wrote. But thankful that we're going to see a Jackson team that didn't slip up after getting beat by McKinley, Mark, and we're going to roll into this game on Friday night between them and Hoover. It's going to be a big one.
Jim, Jackson won this game. They did not rush for 200 yards in this. They only rushed for 150. Like TJ was saying, and Hunter Geisinger had a nice night there. And I like where they are right now. I think this is going to be exciting. I don't want to get too far ahead, but this Jackson team's pretty good.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, Geisinger put together statistically his best game of the season. He was 10 for 13 for 240 yards. A lot of big plays. He had a 62-yard touchdown to Kistler, a 35-yard touchdown to Kistler. He had a 27-yard run. He had 3 touchdown passes. And Paxos, wow, heart goes out to him. I just saw that yesterday when I picked up the paper. Thoughts and prayers to his family, and like you said, I can't imagine 2 days before the game, with my dad passing away, going out and playing. But TJ, you're right. I mean, you would play because your dad would want you to be out there with your guys and to take that mind off. And you know what? He did great kicking the ball as far as extra points and field goals, but he also had 2 punts for 45.5 yards. Great game by Jackson all the way around in all 3 phases. Had some turnovers, frustrated Jack Talkington a little bit on the offensive side of the ball, but this matchup is going to be a fun one Friday night, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and kudos to Matt Creamer, the PA announcer over at Central, who had a moment of silence before the game started. Just a class move, Matt, and I texted you. Thank you again for doing that. I'll tell you, a team that, TJ, McKinley and Glen Oak, and this is another one, the Golden Eagles were in striking distance. They had a chance to win this one.
Yeah,
you were almost speechless there.
Yeah, I was. And it doesn't happen much either, right? I'll tell you what, hats off to Scott Garcia, man. Your team got that win against Louisville the week before, and everybody just expected McKinley after a big win against Jackson just come in there and steamroll you, or they're hosting that game. Hey, shout out to the 1981 state championship team from McKinley, Big Carlos McLean and Rick Borstel and the boys celebrating 40 years of that state title. Thought that they were going to spoil it. And the party wasn't spoiled. It wasn't spoiled by the weather or the Eagles coming in. But, again, Glen Oak stayed in there and they fought hard. They put up points. Look at you, Rennie Wilson, coming back and calling a double reverse. I see you, my man. It put him in with a chance to win the ball game again. McKinley did just enough of what they had to do to get the win. Harold Fannin Jr. talked about him all season long. Still a game left to play. Look for him to do big things. Number 5 gets it done. Both quarterbacks got it done, and Chris Williams, 162 yards behind Big Ham and Stephen Monahan. Tell you what, that's going to be a combo that needs to excel 2 o'clock inside of Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium on Saturday.
That was a dandy, Jim. But I'll tell you what, there was another great game. Lake 28, Perry 27. 4th overtime game for Zach Slates. I think that, we've got the QB and the OG. He's now the OT, I guess, when you look at this. But you had to be happy for this win for Lake, and no disrespect to Perry, but Lake had been in so many close games, as Perry was too, but the Streaks were able to come out ahead on this one. Stopped Perry on a 2-point conversion in the 2nd overtime.
Yeah, and it was a must-win for Lake as far as where they're going to end up in the playoffs. I'm going to break some film down with Cale Jarvis this week, who put together a nice ball game against Perry. He ended up going 14 for 19 for $177 and a touchdown. Played extremely well. They're going to need him to continue to get better if they want to go deep into the playoffs. But to get this win against Perry, which they've had problems with in the past, was a huge win for him. Coach Slade's, anytime overtime comes up or you're here overtime, it's like me,
I've never seen anything like this.
A little PTSD.
How does that happen? Have you ever seen a team that is going through something like this?
4
OT games? I can't remember anything like that. No, I know on the show we haven't.
No, have not. But I'll tell you what, you have the other things you haven't seen is what these guys are going to tell you when we come back in the 2nd segment of the show. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
I'm Ed Murray, an attorney with Krugliak, Wilkins, Griffiths, and Doherty. Our lawyers have a connection to the sport of football, and in particular, high school football. One of our founding members, Stu Wilkins, was inducted into the Stark County High School Football Hall of Fame. Partners Ron Doherty and Randy Hunt are heavily involved with the Pro Football Hall of Fame Museum. We understand the hard work and passion it takes to build a successful team on and off the field. Our firm is very proud to support all of the athletes and this program.
The field has responded like a natural turf field.
This is a unique product. It's different than anything we've been on. In my mind, it's the best quality product I've seen.
My name is Jim Ballard, retired NFL quarterback and 2008 College Football Hall of Fame inductee from the University of Mount Union. I'm the owner and head coach of Ballard Quarterback Academy. I am privately tutoring more than 40 high school starters across the state, in addition to numerous youth, middle school, and college quarterbacks through field instruction, game preparation and evaluation, and development of leadership skills. For more, go to ballardquarterbackacademy.com or call 330-327-1807. To be the best, train the champion's way at Ballard Quarterback Academy.
And we're back with the second quarter of the show. We got to talk about the Massillon Tigers. They took down Worcester, and I didn't think they were going to have any problems in this game, Jim. It was 31-0. Tigers dominated in this game in every phase. They scored on 2 punt returns for a TD, and Austin Brawley just continues to do great things, whether it's within the offense, defense, or on special teams.
I love watching that kid play. You know, I mean, he's yay big, and I mean, the heart in that kid's chest is immeasurable, the things that he does. I love the way he plays. He plays with reckless abandon on defense. You know, he'll come up and stick you. He catches passes and the things he does on special teams. And I love watching that kid play. And I mean, I think he's a kid that you kind of got to talk about Stark County Player of the Year. I mean, because of his
got
work.
to be there. I mean what he does for his team.
What he
Talk
does
about
for his
who's most important to their team. You remove Austin Brawley from that team, Massillon's a whole different team.
Completely different team. Quarterback of that defense, what he does special teams wise, and you know, outside of him, I mean, the freshman quarterbacks their stock is just elevating and continues to get better. I mean, you know, you got a true freshman quarterback playing the schedule that they did. You know, you get Worcester's a little bit down, but they still had to go out and handle their business.
Yeah.
But he stepped in, and I mean, that offense is really starting to move. Now you got Hartson back and some of the other kids that were back from suspension, and this Massillon team is peaking at the right time.
Yeah. Not just the offense, though, TJ. How about the defense? I mean,
Yeah.
they held them to 19 yards rushing, forced 2 turnovers in the game, and put a 0 on the board.
Yeah, and I think with Will Trell being down, you know, being banged up a little bit, having Cam Beasley out there running the ball, Freddie Lennox is running the ball well. Cam Beasley got one of those interceptions defensively for the Tigers. You know, Worcester just hasn't seen speed like this. And Ardell Banks is a guy who's increased his stock just like Will Trell did at the end of last season. He's firmly put himself as a Division I prospect out there for all the coaches that haven't seen him yet. But defensively, Marcus Moore, look at him. He's getting a tipped interception and taking it back 53 yards. I see you 340-pounder out there getting it done. You know, you got a strip sack and mix in another freshman like Mike Wright. And I had a conversation with Nate Moore about him earlier, and he said, TJ, you just do not see that. We have never seen that with the ball that we've played in the trenches, where a freshman comes in there and starts banging with the seniors, and he's holding his own. Mike Wright's going to put himself on a different page here pretty soon because he's getting it done as a freshman as well.
We're going to have a great one this weekend, this Saturday. We'll talk a little bit about that one. Fairless went down 13-37 to Triway. This one didn't, TJ, surprise me. This is a good Triway team who had some injuries at the start of the season, and they completely dominated this game.
Yes, Zach Miller, Cam Sauce, I mean, they're getting it done. You know, missing those pieces like Scalmo and Cooper Barton, you know, Jace Morris. That's a big reason why they lost to Manchester. And you see Triway, you know, going to Fairless and beating them in their place. And that's just going to put a really bad taste in A.J. Sarball and his team's mouth. Because, you know, now you're going to play for potentially a share of the Pac-7 where you wanted to come out and be outright champions. You know, we've seen that with Hoover over here in the Federal League. A chance, Jim, at being outright champion. You as a player, you know, it's a different feeling than sharing it with somebody. Even though you're still going to have a piece of hardware to put on your shelf, it just doesn't sit the same. And look at what they did to Fairless. I mean, they kept Hunter Campbell under 100, you know, Colucci, 117-yard game. You see it throughout certain seasons for teams where it's just like that rain game. It just brings you down. It was just all bad for Fairless.
They just got they got dominated. They got beat flat out like the Browns did yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, that was a good old-fashioned
The dark cloud was over the stadium.
It was the Munsters, if you will.
Yep.
To score 2 times in 11 seconds to end the first half,
huge momentum swing.
Gigantic.
I mean, and then they had 25 first downs to Fairless's 13. They held Fairless 31 rushes, 82 yards, and Colucci to 93 yards passing. I mean, that's getting it done on defense before you even start talking about what anybody did on the offensive side of the ball. 163 yards passing on an efficient 19 for 28 and 261 yards on the ground. I mean, that is flat out getting it done offensively and defensively. They had a field goal by Taggart for 29 yards, made all their extra points. I mean, this was just a butt kicking. And this might be the catalyst to kind of, hey, you know what, we're good here at Fairless, but we're not quite that good, are we?
But maybe this is the lesson you needed to learn right before the playoffs.
Exactly.
Because I think Coach Brenner's team at Triway, they're going to make a run in the playoffs. I think Coach Sarbaugh, his team has that capability too, Mark.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, we're going to shift over to the EBC, and how about those Marlington Dukes? Took down Carrollton 35-28. You can't figure out what's going to go on in these games. But I tell you what, if not for Connor Evanch, the Marlington Dukes don't win this game. He threw 4 touchdown passes in this game, TJ. But there was just a huge rushing game by Chase Olstrom. 364 yards. I don't know anybody here in Stark County. And again, Carrollton's in Carroll County. They're not in Stark County.
Right.
But what a night.
Some people would like to have that for just their entire season. I mean, come on now. I mean, this kid went off, but, credit Marlington. I made a comment the other day, might have irked some people a little bit, but you kind of thought that Marlington was going to maybe pack up for the season. It just hasn't been going their way. And those kids don't do that over there. But I'll tell you what, for them to go down to Carrollton and get that victory, and Connor Evanch, I mean, we know what he's capable of doing, and he did it. Rome Sims, Cooper Scarlett, those guys helped him out. They caught the passes they needed to. They put the points on the board. To go down there and get a 35-28 victory in somebody's own house, and that was supposed to be an easy win for Carrollton. They were a 4 seed going into this. And they didn't get it done, but I think Carrollton's still another team that will make some noise in the playoffs.
Jim, I'll tell you a team that's making some noise right now. How about your boys over at Northwest? McMagic, it's taken place. They took down Manchester 26-6. Northwest defense limited Manchester to 9 first downs, 112 yards rushing. That's the way you stop that Manchester team, because that's all they want to do is run it.
Yeah, they do. Jay Brophy tried to open it up. The head coach of Manchester tried to open up that offense a little bit with a little spread at the beginning of the season and throw the ball around the yard. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm at Manchester. I probably should go back to the T formation. We go power I and just pound the rock. And they've had a lot of success doing that. Credit to him for changing the offense. And but it was Northwest, and Greenfeld had an unbelievable game. Just a man-child playing that linebacker position. He's tough to run, in the backfield as well. Mick had a good ball game. Didn't have to do too much with his arms. He was only 4 for 7 for 55 yards. But there was a touchdown pass in there that was huge.
Absolutely. So those were our Hackenberg Financial Group, the Week in Review. When we come back, we're going to talk about our players of the week, so stay tuned.
We're your neighbor.
We are drivers.
We are haulers. We are recyclers. We are collectors.
We are sorters.
We are communicators.
We are administrators.
We are navigators.
We are supporters. We are heavy lifters.
We are hard workers.
We are early risers. We are late nighters.
We get the job done.
And we get it done right.
We are a team.
We are a family.
We are Kimball.
We are Kimball. We are Kimball.
We are Kimball.
Recycling and disposal done right.
Did you know that Alter Care Centers for Rehabilitation and Nursing Care specialize in short-term rehabilitation? After orthopedic surgery, you want rehabilitation care that will help you get better and get back home. Alter Care Centers offer expert orthopedic rehabilitation for people recovering from hip, knee, or shoulder surgery or injury. To learn more about our rehabilitation capabilities or to plan your post-surgery orthopedic rehab program, visit altercareonline.com.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, maybe even ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. That's when I found this, the Brux Night Guard. Now, the Brux Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Brux Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Go to bruxnightguard.com and order yours today.
Welcome back to the show, and it's time to talk about our Players of the Week, brought to you by the two men that are sitting on either side of me. The 1372 show, the QB and the OG, Connor Evanch. We talked about him just a few seconds ago in Marlington. 266 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the Dukes 35-28 win over Carrollton. Luke Roach over at North Canton, 162 yards rushing, 33 carries in their 17-7 win over Green. And Matt Solberger, he does not disappoint over at Lake. He rushed for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns in the Blue Streaks' 28-27 win over Perry and scored the winning touchdown in OT. Jim mentioned Jason Greenfield at Northwest. He rushed for 110 yards, 2 touchdowns in the Indians' 21-6 win over Manchester. And Chris Williams over at McKinley rushed for 161 yards on 18 carries, 1 touchdown in the Bulldogs' 34-26 win over Glen Oak. And guys, thank you for bringing us the Players of the Week. You guys want to talk about who you're going to have on your podcast?
Well, since we sponsor, we get to veto it, so we're going to throw Chase Olstrom in there with 364 yards. I don't know if we're keeping it in Stark County or not.
We're trying
Chase
to.
Olstrom just ran for 364 yards. He's on that list.
When you sponsor, you get to do whatever you want to do.
And the offensive line, you guys must have been doing your job, so you guys are part of that crew too. Chase Olstrom, take your guys over to McDonald's, get them a couple double cheeseburgers.
Man, have them to the house and load that thing up family style, man. They should be feeding those boys. For sure. Great game.
Congratulations to the Players of the Week, gentlemen. Thank you for that sponsorship. And Carrollton, thanks, TJ, also. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about our Bell Stores Players of the Week. It's rivalry week, and we got some great matchups, so we'll be right back.
Are you looking for something different? At Friends and Family Credit Union, our success is defined by you. Our goal is to improve your financial needs and better your lifestyle. Friends and Family Credit Union provides loans, savings, checking, and other financial services to anyone who lives, works, worships, or attends school in Stark County. Our friendly staff is fully committed to serving over 11,000 of its members. What are you waiting for? Stop in one of our locations today to become a friend of the family.
My name is Jim Ballard, retired NFL quarterback and 2008 College Football Hall of Fame inductee from the University of Mount Union. I'm the owner and head coach of Ballard Quarterback Academy. I am privately tutoring more than 40 high school starters across the state, in addition to numerous youth, middle school, and college quarterbacks through field instruction, game preparation and evaluation, and development of leadership skills. For more, go to ballardquarterbackacademy.com or call 330-327-1807. To be the best, train the champion's way at Ballard Quarterback Academy.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing, because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty. You won't believe what ARW covers: heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more. Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-312-9958.
I think it's just vapor and flavors. It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter of the show, and it's our Bell Stores Games of the Week. And boy, we got some dandies. And gentlemen, Jackson at North Canton. And I'm going to tell you right now, the home team, Jim, has not fared well in this rivalry.
No, we've done some games over there where it's come down to the one end zone on 4th and 1, where it was a goal line stand and a fumble created, or a forced fumble, I should say. The games over there have been unbelievable, and this year isn't going to be any different. Coach Baum has got his guys playing at a really high level. They've got to get more out of Derlin, though. They got to throw the ball a little bit. They got to get creative with him and give him some layups. Give him some bubble screens. Give him some smoke screens. Allow him to get on the edge with the back offset to the right or the left and not behind you. When he's able to read that out, the game that we did, he was effective in that second half running the ball. But they got to throw the ball, and if not this week, if you expect to go deeper in the playoffs, they're going to load the box, and sooner or later you're going to get beat, because you just can't be one-dimensional anymore.
Flip side of the coin, Hunter Geisinger's got to throw the ball too. He's got to throw it better. I mean, the last time we saw him against McKinley, he was one-hopping some balls, and he sailed a couple pretty high. And, throwing 13 passes against Central for, 6-7 completions, okay. But this is the game, man, because I can tell you this right now. Mike Shimmick and Drew Logan are not going to let Brendan Craig pop off. They are not. And that defense is going to force Hunter Geisinger to pass the ball. I love this game here right now. I mean, you look at some of these matchups: Colton Arnold versus Drew Logan, Holzapfel versus Derlin, McKinney and Roach. All the way across. Shimmick and Sullivan going against, that defensive line. Kistler and Jake Fisher, how they match up against DJ Reed and Xander Bergara. Mark, how impressed were we with Xander Bergara last week against Green?
Absolutely, and having him back over there, he does so many great things for him on offense and defense. This is going to be an outstanding football game, and I think it's going to be whoever wins at the point of attack in those trenches, because the big guys are going to have to take care of things. And another big Federal League matchup, it's going to be Lake at Green, and you got to wonder what's Green got left in the tank after the beatings that they've taken here. I mean, they've got 6 wins on the season, but these are 2 teams very different in their offensive philosophies. A Green team who's going to spread you out, throw it 98% of the time. And then you've got Lake, who's going to want to try to grind it out.
Yeah, Jim, essentially this is for 4th place in the Federal League, right? I mean, Jackson, McKinley, Hoover sitting at the top of the Federal League. And we've both seen Lake and Green enough to know that they're 2 really good football teams. I think Lake comes into this and tries to pound a Green team that may be a little bit down right now, kind of keep the hierarchy where it is inside the Federal League. But both of these teams have won the games that they were supposed to, and they lost the games that on paper you said they're going to struggle with Jackson, McKinley, and Hoover. They were close games. They were competitive. Tip your cap to Lake and Green. Great seasons. Looking forward to see what you could potentially do in the playoffs. And this is going to be a great Federal League game as well.
Hey, Jim, they're another big game, and we haven't had a chance to talk a whole lot about East Canton this year, but they're 5-2, 3-0 in the league. They're going to be taking on a 7-2 Malvern team who's 4-0. The Battle of the Hornets. The winner is the IVC North champ. And I'll tell you what, it's good to see East Canton doing well.
Yeah, it is. You got to love Coach Spider Miller, man. He's been around. He's been doing it a long time at multiple schools, and everywhere he goes, he just wins. And this is no exception. I had some guys graduate off last year's team, and he's doing an outstanding job. Lost a couple games, I believe, earlier in the season, but they continue to get better, and it's going to be a fun one. As you say, it's penalties, it's turnovers, and controlling the line of scrimmage. Those 3 things in big games, especially rivalry games, championship games, are where everything is won and lost.
Watch for Chase Vacco. He's going to have a big night. And the game that everybody waits for, it's the 132nd meeting, the War of 1894. McKinley at Massillon. It'll be good to be over at Tom Benson Stadium. Plenty of room for you guys up in the press box. But you look at this game, TJ, and I think that when you look at McKinley, they're going to have to start throwing the football a little bit more consistently. I know that they can run it, but I think that they have to throw the ball on a more consistent basis, and Harold Fannin has to be a big part of this.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Harold Fannon's got to be your go-to guy if you're Antonio Hall. And I had conversations with both coaches earlier today. The one thing you want to do if you're McKinley is not have any turnover issues, not have any bad special teams like you had last week when you were playing against Glen Oak. Between Keaton Rohde and Marion Williams, Antonio Hall is going to continue to just rotate those guys every 2 series. It doesn't matter what the situation is in the game, who has the hot hand or not, because both of them are capable. We've seen Keaton Rohde, he can run it well. Marion Williams, you lend your hand to him throwing the ball because he's had more touchdowns that he's put up through the air. He's put up more yards. And behind the big offensive line, it's going to be a task to keep that Massillon defense at bay. And what type of pressure when Harold Fannin is on defense, when Jamar Barsick and Creed Patterson, those guys are out there, what are they going to be able to do with the freshman Jalen Slaughter to get him off schedule? This game comes down to who can affect the quarterback, the opposing quarterback, the most.
I agree. And, as you said, I had a chance to talk to Coach Bartowell the other day, the offensive coordinator for McKinley, and that's exactly what I said. I said, man, it doesn't matter if one of your quarterbacks goes 2 for 2 for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. They're getting benched. He's like, yeah. We just keep doing it. I told Coach Hall this is my plan and this is what I wanted to do, and he just let me do it. And I mean, they're getting the most out of those kids. Last week again, efficient, 7 for 12. Both quarterbacks threw a touchdown pass. Williams is the better athlete of the 2 as far as what he can do with his feet. Yeah. But Rohde is also athletic enough to keep defensive ends and backside linebackers. To give them a read, they got to account for him. So if he gives it, or if he pulls it and he takes off, you got to be there because he will be able to get the yards. It's going to be a fun game to say the least. Will the freshman, will the moment be too big for him? I don't know. I don't think they're going to put that much on him. Like I don't think McKinley's going to put that much on those 2 guys. I think this is going to be one of those games where they just line up, they kind of get on the rope, a little rope-a-dope, and they're just going to throw punches, and sooner or later somebody's going to throw a haymaker, which is a deep ball.
Big players got to come out and make big plays.
But it's going to be those jabs, that 3-yard run, the 10-yard run. They're going to run the ball at each other, and I'm waiting to see who hits the biggest haymaker that day.
There'll be no Warriors coming out to play in that one. But guys, hey, thank you for coming and doing the show, and thank you all for tuning in this evening. We hope to see you next week, and we'll be talking about playoffs on the high school football playbook. See you next week. Thanks for watching the High School Football Playbook, brought to you by BSN Sports.
How you doing, baby? You should get some sleep and you'll feel better in the morning.